Hello everyone, I'm Tarak Mahmood here for conducting the session of CodersTrust, and I hope you'll enjoy the session. And before starting the session, I just want to ensure that you are watching my screen properly and see and to listening my voice also. So if you have any problem to see my screen or listen my voice, you can just comment here. If you are logged in with your Gmail account, you can easily comment here in the comment section. Well, before starting this session, I just want to ensure that you are in the proper settings of the resolution so that actually it will not make any problem for you to see my screen. So you can see here just the settings icon, click on it and choose the quality option and choose 360, 480 or 720, any of these three, but not 240 or 144 because those will acquire a low resolution for you. Though my option is selected to 144 because I don't need to see my screen in the streaming. So it's just for my keeping this 144 is for me is perfect, but for you it should be 360 at least here or above is better. Okay, so the topic is actually form elements in the HTML, and I will create a basic registration form with starting with CSS, and finally I'll show some basic HTML5 feature that will actually work as validation for the form here. So let's start the session. So the first one is about form tag here. You can see. So whenever we'll create a form, we'll start with the form tag, and in form tag there are some attribute here. The first one is the action. So action basically actually the URL of the file name where actually we want to submit the form. That means when a users complete the form and submit, click on the submit button, and where will actually go the form data. So it can be blank. Blank means actually it is submitting in the same file here. For example, my file is index.html. So if I keep it as blank, that means actually it will submit in the same file here. Or it can be like, for example, it can be like contact.php. So that means we have some data here, and after submitting the data it will go to the contact.php, and contact.php actually will handle those data with the php and or save whatever in the database or send something email. So actually it will do, done by the php part here. So the main role of the form is actually submitting the data here, and there are some method also. There are two methods, the get and post. The basic difference between the get and post is actually sending the data styling. That means how the data is will be sent. If we use the get method here, so the data actually will be sent through the URL. For example, the data will be sent like that. You can see here already in this b equals something else. So if we have some data like name or email, so the value will be like the name equals something and the email equals something. Something is actually the data you are placing in the form here. And if we make it post, actually it will not be shown in the URL. That means the data will not be sent through the URL. It will send directly in the post method. So and post is preferred actually if we are sending any secure data like the email password, and get is preferred whenever actually we are creating some public search like the searching through the website or using the pagination like the we want to go to the page one, page two like that. So in that case actually get is preferred, but mostly post will be used here in the web application. And finally, there is encryption type. By default, the first one is uh, if we don't give any encryption tag here, so the first one will be applied. But this we have to make it the second one, that means the multi-part form data. If we have some data like the files or image upload, so something that means there is some multimedia data like those files or form or images. So in that case, actually, you have to use the second option here. So well, I hope this attributes you have understood what to submit. And just for this one, the post here, and I'm giving is blank. Now I'll go for this form element. This the input. So there are some input tag. For the first one is the text. That means we have some input value like the name. So you can use this as text here. So actually blank input box. So let's see the output here. So you can see there's just a blank input box. So it is for the text type input. There's another one which is called input type number. We have if we have some data like the number, like age or any amount. So you can see there is some number 5, and we can also increase the decrease number using those arrow here. And there are some other type like the input type password. So password, you know what the password for using the password input. We already use in many website for login or something else. So you can see the password is not shown, and it's just dotted represented by the dotted here. And there is some other input like the input type checkbox. So checkbox is basically selecting some option here. You can see. So for checkbox, we can just make some value here like the main in here. You can see here just some input. That means if we have many options and a user can actually select more than one options, in that case actually we use this checkbox here. And there another type is called the radio. Radio is basically for the just selecting the one option within the many options here. So you can see here, you can see this the option, but there is a problem. You can see we can select all the options because we haven't binded those element into the one input box. So we have to create another attribute which is name, for example gender, and gender here. So now actually those are the same input for the gender. Now you can see that actually you cannot select all this one, so you have to select just one, either with this male or female. That means those are actually binded to the just one input, which is gender. You can also make another like other. So you can see here it also will be binded. So we can just select this one or this one or this one, not any two actually together here. But for the checkbox, you can see actually you can select multiple options. So this is the basic difference between the checkbox and the radio button here. Well, now I will show another one, which is called the text area. So text area basically for the larger text, the description. For example, you can see you can use the multiple lines input here. So you can say actually when you use some comment in any blog, or even we use the this comment box like in the Facebook or in our status in the comment or everything, you can see those type of input which is actually done with the text area here. And there's another one which is called the select box. So it is like the drop down and here some optional there. For example, we have some countries here, and like this. Well, so you can see there is select books, and next we can select any of them. It's something like this video button, but the presentation is actually different, and we can see actually those type of input in many in countries or many options here. Well, so actually those are basically used in our regular websites. You can see those type of input, and this is actually a function for example, the text, number, password, checkbox, radio, text area, and there are other two for submitting form. So there are input type submit and for the value sent here. So you can see just there is a submit button. The value sent actually we have to represent what the value will be appeared in the button here. That means after completing the form, we can submit using this button. And there another one which is called the accept. For example, we have made some mistake here. We made mistake in the input, and we want to reset those values. So we can actually use it like that. So, for example, we can get some data here. If we have cleared, so all are reset. So the input are reset, refresh, and we can actually input the new data here. So it's just for clearing the data or resetting the form here. So those are actually basic input type that actually normally used in the website. Okay, I'm just checking your comment if you have any problem here. Okay, no comments so far. I hope everything is going fine. Well, now I'll go for the second session. That means second the part of this our session, creating a basic registration form and styling with CSS. I just make some actual input type just as in a one line, so it's not like a registration form here. Now I'll make a simple registration form. So let's make it here, and I'm giving some class also. So it can be like my form for the styling in the CSS, and also taking a div here because input row. That means actually I want to keep all input in the same row here. And also I used some level. Level is basically used to represent some data here. For example, we have the name. So user can see this value in this different input type. And if you input type it with text, okay. And also I can use some class also to style here like text. Okay. And for input my form, I will add some CSS here. My form, just giving some width like 500 pixel, margin 0 auto to make it center. Also can give some background color and some height also. So it can be like 600 pixel. Okay. And the second one is input row. So input row basically get deep which will give 100% of the width, 100%. and fold to left so that actually it will not overlap the other div here. Okay. You can see a basic form and there is some element here, but I will make it those more properly here. So for level, that means this level I can write some CSS also. So input row level can be like 150 pixel, and font size can be like 20 pixel. And also we can make this input, that is the input text here. So this label actually should be for black also. And text, the white should be border white, it should be directly white. I've already used 150, there are total in 500, so we can use like 300 pixels. And also we can give some height input row, so we can use the height 60 pixel, and some margin also, margin about 30 pixel. Okay, and we can also make other input here. Just I'll copy those section and put it below. So it can be name, password, or password. You'll actually type the password, name, that's no problem. And like something page here, and for this one is a radio. And we can give a name like this page here. And go copy and below 30. Okay, so can we check this one? The thing, the space is very larger here, so I have to remove this one. And also you can see there's no space between the border and this level, so I can make some padding in this level. So padding left, and also we can give a title here. So the form, so we can make the title and things to registration, and visitor should be the center. So we can utilize the H2. For H2, we can make it center, the current center. Okay. So name, password, email, age, and there will be another one which is the should be like the country. So it can be like country, and Also, we can give some selectors here. Select some option interaction here. Well, so this also okay. Name pursuit email is the country, and also can give some comment box. So finally, I will make a tick. Just copying this stuff here, and when it's about, so if it's about, there will be text here. So it should be text area. For this text area, I will give some class also. Which it can be like text area input here. For this text area, I will write some CSS also. Which would be like 300 pixel. The height should be like 100 pixel. So that made it. Uh, yeah. Okay, so name, password, email. Then finally, there will be a button for submitting. So input type submit across submit en the button the value is correct. For the submit button, I'll write some CSS also. Some background color in text color and be white. Font size can be individual. Font weight can be bold. Text and should be center. And can give some weight also, like 120 pixel, and height 40 pixel. Some padding top here, 5 pixel, and also can be like spread block. Okay, so let's see here. Yeah, you can see here. I think the padding top is not cleared here, and also remove the border. Here. And left because it is now overlapping to others. So it can be an independent input from here. Okay. And there can be actually some well, you can make it float right to make it in the right side. So I'll say float right here, and also some margin top. not 100, it should be like just 50 here. Okay, so we can make it some changes here in the right, font right, and margin the 50. We also can give some margin right also, to make it properly aligned. Margin right around 40 pixels. Okay. Well, so basic registration form is created now. So name, password, email, age. You can just select this one and the country also, and some about. And there is a register button here. So now I will make some validation with CSS. Not sorry, it's HTML5 feature. So for validation, I use some keyword here. For example, I just want to make it compulsory. That is, user cannot make it the blank here. So I can make the required. That is, the name is required. So let's check it how it will work. So I'm just trying to submit, but it shows some error or notification me that please fill out this field. That means it cannot be blank here. So I have to keep something. Now it's perfect. So it can be submitted. So we can actually make it mandatory. So using this keyword, we keyword, that means this user needs to just keep some data. That means he cannot keep it blank here. Also, we can make another thing like a required, and there's another tag like email. So user have to input some valid email. So for example, I'm just giving some name, and you can see the email is also there's record some data here. So I can giving data, but the error still appears because it is not a valid email type. So we can make it like this. Now it is the valid. So the errors gone, and we can submit the data here. So in that case, actually, we can make it the validation, the proper email format here, and the required for the data. That means we cannot keep any blank data here. So we can just add this required here, and it will actually check the blank data in this form. So we can actually use those thing of the HTML5 feature to make some validation without using any other external JavaScript plugin or jQuery plugin. Well, so this about today's session. I hope you have enjoyed the session, and if you have any questions, you can ask in the comment section. Whoever actually joined it later, you can see the whole session in the same URL. Just refresh the URL. You can see the uh, whole session will be recorded here. And also, you can actually comment. I try to reply to later if the session is finished. Well, before finishing this session, I just want to ensure there's something about the CodersTrust. Actually, what CodersTrust is about here. CodersTrust basically a Denmark-based company which is working in many countries, and it's like the Bangladesh, Bhutan, Malaysia, Kosovo, Kenya, and it is providing the train up for in the web development skill, and not actually just training, also is preparing the students to make them earn in the global marketplaces like the freelancer.com, the upwork.com, and some other marketplaces also. So they're preparing, then the Coded Trust actually preparing the students to this standard. That is they can compete with the other programmers around the world. So just not ensuring the training, also the quality also. And you can see many success stories that Coded Trust actually already achieved here. Many students already working in the marketplaces, and many are more coming here, and you can get live support here if you want to know more about the courses, the other payment schedule, and flexibility like the classroom, the online offline classes. So you can get support from here. And the main things actually the Coder Trust actually will be with the students until they start earning. So is the Coder Trust responsibility to make the students capable earning in the marketplaces. Well, so this about today's session, and hopefully I'll see you in the next session. And till then, goodbye, good night.